Scarlett sat by the window, the soft glow of the morning sun illuminating the room. The air was filled with a mixture of nostalgia and determination. As she sipped her coffee, Scarlett reflected on the difficult years she had endured, a marriage strained by distance and misunderstandings, and the subsequent years of raising David alone. Her gaze shifted to the laptop on the table, open to a travel website displaying vibrant images of sun-kissed beaches and lush resorts. Scarlett took a deep breath, realizing it was time for a change. She deserved happiness, and a new chapter awaited her. "David," she called, the excitement bubbling in her voice. Her 8-year-old son ran into the room, his eyes wide with curiosity. "What's up, Mom?" he asked, a hint of a smile playing on his lips. Scarlett ruffled his hair affectionately. "How about a little adventure, buddy? Just you and me. What do you think about a vacation?" David's eyes sparkled with anticipation. "Really, Mom? Where are we going?" A grin spread across Scarlett's face as she pointed at the laptop screen. "Sochi, my love. A place filled with memories. What do you say we make some new ones?" David's face lit up with excitement. "Yes, Mom, that sounds awesome." As Scarlett continued browsing, she couldn't help but feel a surge of optimism. Sochi held a special place in her heart. Memories of carefree days with friends, the laughter of her family echoing in the warm breeze. It was time to reclaim that joy. "Mom, are we going to see dolphins again?" David asked, remembering a picture from one of their old family albums. Scarlett chuckled, touched by his innocence. "Absolutely, sweetheart. Dolphins, beaches, and maybe even some new friends. This trip is about us and starting a new chapter in our lives." With a sense of purpose and excitement, Scarlett and David began planning their escape to Sochi, blissfully unaware of the unexpected twist that awaited them in the chapters ahead. The anticipation of the upcoming trip to Sochi filled Scarlett's days with a vibrant energy. As she delved into the planning, old photographs and albums resurfaced, taking her on a nostalgic journey through time. One evening, Scarlett sat with David, surrounded by photo albums spread across the living room floor. The pictures captured moments of joy, frozen in time. The sunlight streamed through the windows, casting a warm glow on the images of family vacations and carefree days at the Sochi resort. David pointed at a photo of a younger Scarlett, her arms around friends, laughter echoing in the background. "Mom, who are these people? Are they going to be there when we go?" Scarlett smiled, her eyes sparkling with memories. "Those are my old friends, love. We used to visit Sochi together. And yes, who knows, maybe we'll meet some familiar faces." The images transitioned to pictures of David as a toddler, building sandcastles on the beach. Scarlett's voice softened as she reminisced. "And here's you, my little beach explorer. You loved chasing seagulls and splashing in the waves." David laughed, his eyes lighting up. "I want to build sandcastles again, Mom." "That's the spirit, sweetheart," Scarlett replied, her heart warmed by the excitement in David's eyes. "We'll make new memories, just like the old ones." As Scarlett continued flipping through the pages, she stumbled upon a picture of her and Henry, arms wrapped around each other, smiles reflecting the happiness of newlyweds. A pang of nostalgia mixed with sadness washed over her. David pointed at the photo. "Mom, is that Dad? Will he be with us this time?" Scarlett's smile wavered for a moment. "No, love. Dad won't be joining us this time. It's just you and me on this adventure. But who knows, we might find something even more special." As Scarlett closed the photo album, a mixture of emotions lingered in the room, the warmth of cherished memories and the bittersweet realization of a new beginning without Henry. Little did they know, the journey to Sochi would unravel a story they never expected. The days leading up to the trip were filled with excitement as Scarlett and David eagerly counted down to their Sochi adventure. Scarlett had already started packing their bags when she stumbled upon a news article that would change everything. "Mom, look at this!" David exclaimed, holding up his tablet, his eyes wide with surprise. Scarlett turned from her suitcase, curious about the source of his excitement. On the screen was a headline that read, "Irkutsk business trip turns thrilling. Snowmobiling adventures in Siberia." A knot formed in Scarlett's stomach as she read the article detailing Henry's unexpected business trip and his daring snowmobiling escapades. "Mom, isn't that where Dad is?" David asked, pointing at the article. Scarlett's heart raced as she scanned the words on the screen. "Yes, love. Dad's in Irkutsk, but I had no idea he'd be doing something like this." David's eyes widened with a mix of awe and concern. Snowmobiling sounds cool, but is it safe? What if something happens to Dad? Scarlett tried to reassure him, her mind racing with worry. "Well, sweetie, snowmobiling can be risky, especially if it's not done under the right conditions. I need to find out more about this." She grabbed her phone and dialed the number for Henry's workplace, her fingers tapping anxiously as the phone rang. Finally, a voice on the other end answered. "Hello, this is Scarlett, Henry's wife. I just saw the news about his trip to Irkutsk. Can you tell me more about what he's doing there?" The representative hesitated before responding, "Oh, Mrs. Anderson. Well, you see, there's been a sudden change in weather conditions. Snowmobiling is forbidden due to the slight warming. We've advised against it, but it seems Mr. Anderson is determined." Scarlett's worry deepened. But why would he take such risks? Is there any way to reach him and make him understand? The representative sighed. "I'm afraid not, Mrs. Anderson. He's in a remote area, and communication is limited. We're doing our best to monitor the situation and ensure his safety." As Scarlett hung up, a mixture of frustration and concern etched across her face. David looked at her with wide eyes, sensing the gravity of the situation. "Mom, is Dad going to be okay?" Scarlett took a deep breath, trying to reassure her son. "We'll do everything we can to make sure he's safe, David. Let's just hope he listens to the warnings and comes back to us in one piece." Little did Scarlett know, this unexpected revelation was just the beginning of a journey filled with twists and turns. As Scarlett paced nervously in the small hotel room in Sochi, her mind raced with worry. The news about Henry's reckless snowmobiling adventure in Irkutsk had left her unsettled, and she felt a deep sense of urgency to do something about it. "Mom, are you okay?" David asked, concern etched on his face as he watched Scarlett dial Henry's number for what felt like the 100th time. Scarlett shook her head, her eyes glued to the phone. "I just need to talk to your dad to make sure he's safe. It's important, sweetheart." The phone continued to ring, each unanswered call fueling Scarlett's anxiety. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, a voice answered on the other end. "Hello." Henry's voice crackled through the phone, the sound slightly distorted. "Henry, it's Scarlett. I just saw the news about your trip and the snowmobiling. What on earth are you thinking?" Scarlett's voice trembled with a mix of frustration and concern. Henry chuckled nervously, unaware of the gravity of the situation. "Hey, Scar, it's not as bad as it sounds. I've done this before, and I know what I'm doing." Scarlett's frustration bubbled over. "Henry, you're in a remote area, and the weather conditions have changed. They've forbidden snowmobiling, and I've been told it's dangerous. You need to stop and come back." There was a pause on the other end, and Scarlett held her breath, waiting for Henry's response. "Scar, you worry too much. I've got this. It's just a little adventure," he replied, his tone dismissive. Scarlett clenched her fists, trying to contain her frustration. "This is not a game, Henry. Our son is worried, and so am I. Please, for once, think about us. Think about your safety." Henry sighed, the connection momentarily breaking up. "Scar, I'll be fine. Trust me. I'll call you when I can. Gotta go." The line went dead, leaving Scarlett with a sinking feeling in her chest. She looked at David, who was silently watching her, concern written all over his face. "Mom, is Dad going to be okay?" David asked, his voice filled with a child's innocence and vulnerability. Scarlett knelt beside him, her hands on his shoulders, trying to offer reassurance. "We'll do everything we can to make sure he's safe, David. We just have to trust that he'll come back to us." As Scarlett hung up the phone, uncertainty hung in the air, and she couldn't shake the feeling that the situation was more precarious than she wanted to admit. Little did she know, the journey had just begun, and the challenges ahead would test the strength of her resolve and the bonds of their family. The days in Sochi passed in a mix of excitement and worry for Scarlett. She and David tried to distract themselves with the beauty of the resort, the sun-kissed beaches, and the promise of new memories. Yet the forbidden adventure unfolding in Irkutsk lingered in Scarlett's mind like a storm on the horizon. One afternoon, Scarlett and David strolled along the beach, the waves gently lapping at the shore. Scarlett couldn't escape the nagging worry about Henry's safety, and the vibrant surroundings seemed to contrast with the uncertainty clouding her thoughts. "Mom, can we build a sandcastle?" David's voice cut through Scarlett's troubled thoughts, his eyes sparkling with anticipation. Scarlett managed a weak smile. "Sure, sweetheart. Let's build the best sandcastle Sochi has ever seen." As they began shaping the sand into turrets and walls, Scarlett's mind drifted to the forbidden adventure playing out in Irkutsk. She wondered if Henry was facing the consequences of his impulsive decision. "Mom, why can't Dad just come back?" "I miss him," David said, his innocence tugging at Scarlett's heart. Scarlett sighed, struggling to find the right words. "Your dad? He likes adventures, but sometimes they can be dangerous. We want him to be safe, that's all." David nodded, his young mind trying to grasp the complexities of the situation. "I hope he comes back soon, Mom." A few days later, Scarlett received a call from Henry's workplace. The representative on the other end shared an update on the situation in Irkutsk. "Mrs. Anderson, we've been keeping an eye on Mr. Anderson's activities. Despite our warnings, he's continued with the snowmobiling. The weather is getting worse, and we're growing increasingly concerned." Scarlett's heart sank. "Is there anything we can do? Can you send help?" The representative hesitated before responding. "We're doing our best to assess the situation, but given the remote location and the weather conditions, it's proving challenging. All we can do is hope for the best." As Scarlett hung up, a sense of helplessness washed over her. She looked at David, who sensed the gravity of the conversation. "Mom, is Dad going to be okay?" David asked, his eyes searching Scarlett's face for reassurance. Scarlett wrapped her arms around him, fighting back tears. "We'll keep hoping, David. We'll do everything we can to bring him back to us." The forbidden adventure in Irkutsk cast a shadow over their sunny days in Sochi, creating a stark contrast between the picturesque resort and the looming uncertainty that awaited them. Little did Scarlett know, their journey was about to take an unexpected turn, testing the strength of their family bonds even further. The picturesque backdrop of Sochi offered little solace to Scarlett as the days passed. Determined to uncover the truth behind Henry's sudden adventure, Scarlett delved into a quest for answers, reaching out to old friends and colleagues who might shed light on the mysteries surrounding her husband's actions. One evening, Scarlett sat at a quaint seaside cafe, the soft hum of waves in the background. She clutched her phone, scrolling through contacts, and finally settled on dialing a familiar number. "Hello, Elena, it's Scarlett," she said, the words carrying a mix of urgency and desperation. Elena, an old friend and colleague of Scarlett's, responded warmly. "Scarlett, it's been ages. How have you been?" The small talk quickly gave way to the reason for Scarlett's call. "Elena, I need to know if you've heard anything about Henry's recent activities. He's in Irkutsk on a business trip, and things seem to have taken a dangerous turn." Elena sighed, her voice carrying a tone of concern. "Scarlett, I heard whispers about Henry's trip. It's been the talk of the office, but the details are sketchy. All I know is that there's more to this story than meets the eye." Scarlett's heart raced with a mix of anticipation and anxiety. "Please, Elena, if you know anything at all, It could help us bring him back safely." Alina hesitated before responding. "I'll dig around, Scarlett. You know I've got your back. Let me make some calls and see what I can find out. Stay strong." As Scarlett hung up, she felt a flicker of hope. Determined to get to the bottom of the mystery, she continued reaching out to others in Henry's professional circle. Each conversation brought new snippets of information, creating a mosaic of intrigue around Henry's sudden and risky escapade. Days turned into nights as Scarlett navigated through a web of half-truths and hidden agendas. The more she learned, the clearer it became that Henry's trip was not merely a spontaneous adventure, but something more complex and potentially dangerous. Late one evening, Scarlett received a call from an old colleague, Alexei. His voice held a note of caution. "Scarlett, be careful. There's more going on than we initially thought. I've heard rumors of business dealings, and it might involve people who play by their own rules." Scarlett's mind whirred with possibilities. "Alexei, please, if there's any way you can find out more, we need to understand what we're dealing with. Our family's safety is at stake." As Scarlett ended the call, she knew that the journey to uncover the truth was far from over. The shadows of secrecy and danger loomed large, casting a foreboding light on the path ahead. Little did she realize that the answers she sought might unravel a story much bigger than her own family's ordeal. As Scarlett continued her quest for answers, the weight of uncertainty pressed upon her. The resort's sunny facade seemed to mock her, the waves echoing the rhythm of her restless thoughts. One afternoon, as Scarlett and David sat by the pool, the tension in the air became palpable. "Mom, why do you keep making those calls? Is something wrong with Dad?" David asked, his innocent eyes reflecting a mixture of curiosity and concern. Scarlett sighed, her gaze fixed on the shimmering water. "David, there are some things Mommy needs to figure out about Dad's trip. It's a bit complicated, but I promise we'll make sense of it together." David furrowed his brow, trying to grasp the gravity of the situation. "Is Dad in trouble?" Scarlett hesitated, choosing her words carefully. "Well, sweetie, not exactly trouble. Mommy just wants to make sure he's safe. Sometimes, adults have to deal with grown-up problems, and it can be a bit confusing." David nodded thoughtfully, his eyes reflecting a hint of understanding beyond his years. "I miss Dad. When is he coming back?" Scarlett hugged him tightly, her heart aching with the weight of the truth she couldn't fully share. "We're doing everything we can to bring him back soon, David. I promise." As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow on the resort, Scarlett felt a mixture of gratitude for David's innocence and the burden of being unable to shield him from the complexities of the adult world. Later that evening, David found Scarlett sitting on the balcony, staring into the distance. He approached her, a concerned look on his face. "Mom, are you okay?" Scarlett managed a weak smile, ruffling his hair affectionately. "I'm okay, sweetheart. Just thinking about things. You know, being a mom can be tough sometimes." David sat beside her, his small hand in hers. "I wish I could help, Mom. I don't like seeing you sad." Scarlett's eyes welled up with tears as she pulled him into a comforting embrace. "You're already helping, David. Your love and support mean everything to me. We'll get through this together." The innocence of David's inquiries and the genuine concern in his eyes provided a source of strength for Scarlett, reinforcing her determination to uncover the truth and bring their family back together. Little did they know, the threads of their journey were weaving a narrative that extended beyond the confines of their small family unit. As the days in Sochi unfolded, Scarlett's internal storm raged on. The sun-drenched resort, once a symbol of relaxation, now served as a backdrop to her relentless pursuit of answers. She had uncovered fragments of the truth about Henry's mysterious venture, but the full picture remained elusive. One evening, as Scarlett and David enjoyed a quiet dinner overlooking the Black Sea, the weight of the situation lingered in the air. The distant sound of waves crashing against the shore seemed to echo Scarlett's internal turmoil. "Mom, why are you always on the phone? Did you find out where Dad is?" David asked, his eyes filled with a mixture of hope and concern. Scarlett sighed, her gaze fixed on the horizon. "We're getting there, sweetheart. Mommy's trying her best to find out more about Dad, but it's complicated, and I need you to be patient a little longer, okay?" David nodded, his small hand reaching out to touch Scarlett's. "I miss Dad. I want him to come back." Tears welled up in Scarlett's eyes as she held David's hand tightly. "I miss him too, love. We're going to bring him back, I promise." The next morning, Scarlett decided to take a break from her relentless search. She and David explored the vibrant streets of Sochi, trying to create moments of joy amid the uncertainty. As they strolled through a bustling market, the lively atmosphere provided a temporary respite. "Mom, can we buy something for Dad? Maybe he'll like a souvenir from Sochi," David suggested, a glimmer of hope in his eyes. Scarlett smiled through the pain, touched by David's innocence. "That's a wonderful idea, sweetheart. Let's find something special for him." As they perused the market stalls, David excitedly settled on a small handcrafted figurine. "This will remind Dad of our trip, right?" Scarlett nodded, her heart heavy yet grateful for David's resilient spirit. "Yes, love. And when we find Dad, we can share all the stories of our adventure together." In the quiet moments of the night, Scarlett found herself on the balcony again, the vastness of the Black Sea mirroring the vastness of her concerns. The phone buzzed, interrupting her thoughts. It was Alina, her voice filled with urgency. "Scarlett, I've learned more about Henry's business dealings. It's not just a regular trip. There are powerful people involved, and your husband might be in over his head. Be careful and watch your back." Scarlett's heart raced with a mixture of fear and determination. "Alina, I need to know everything. We can't afford to be in the dark any longer." As the conversation unfolded, Scarlett realized that the storm she sought to contain was growing stronger. The tangled web of secrets and danger threatened not only her family, but also those around them. As she prepared to face the approaching tempest, Scarlett knew that the final chapters of their journey held challenges that went beyond the bounds of the familiar Sochi landscape. The storm had arrived, and only time would reveal whether they could weather it together.